You don't need more discipline. You need better boundaries because discipline isn't willpower. It's a protected space. And when your life has no boundaries, consistency becomes nearly impossible, no matter how badly you want it. Listen, you can follow every plan, hit every workout, or try every program out there. But if your time, your energy, and your focus are constantly being pulled in 100 different directions, then nothing is going to stick. You end up restarting over and over. And that's not because you're lazy. It's because your identity, your goals, and even your self-respect are unprotected. I learned the hard way that your boundaries determine whether your life stays the same or it actually changes. They're not abstract or optional. They're invisible lines that define where you end and where everyone else begins. They protect your time, your energy, your focus, your emotional capacity, your body, and the future version of you that you're actually trying to become. And if your boundaries are weak, your life is going to reflect that. Not because you lack effort, but because no one ever taught you how to protect yourself. And that's what we're going to go ahead and fix today. So I'm going to walk you through 7 boundaries that I ultimately had to set to transform my body, my confidence, and my life permanently. Without boundaries, your time gets taken by everyone else. Your energy disappears well before you even step into the gym. Your focus starts to fragment. Your nervous system is constantly overstimulated. And under stress, you default to old habits that ultimately are going to keep you stuck, especially without those boundaries. Now, with boundaries, you protect time for workouts, meals, sleep, and recovery. You stop emotional eating driven by exhaustion and resentment. You stop negotiating with your goals based off guilt. And you start acting like the woman that you actually want to become, even when it's extremely uncomfortable. Now, most women weren't actually taught how to set boundaries properly, because I know I certainly wasn't. They were taught self-abandonment disguised as kindness. And we were praised for being agreeable, helpful, low maintenance, and putting everybody else first. So now setting a boundary actually starts to feel wrong, and it triggers guilt. And that's when the short-term approval takes priority over your long-term self-respect. Then there's the codependence and enmeshment, feeling responsible for other people's emotions, over-functioning so that others can under-function, trying your worth to be needed. And ultimately, boundaries start to feel unsafe because chaos feels so familiar, even when it hurts. And finally, there's the identity conflict. To set boundaries, you need to start outgrowing the version of yourself that has survived chaos. And the difficult part is that version is going to resist. But the woman that you actually want to become, she's on the other side of those boundaries. So let's get into the boundaries that we need to actually start setting. Number 1, self-boundaries. Now, I used to let my mood and fatigue control my entire day. One missed workout, one skipped meal, and suddenly the whole plan feels ruined. That's not weakness. That's a lack of self-boundaries. So I encourage you to stop negotiating with your goals based on how you feel. Don't abandon your routines because you had one bad day. Feelings are data, not decision makers. So you need to stop the self-talk that you would not accept from anybody else. You need to start fueling your body when everything still feels chaotic, because skipping meals isn't discipline. It's self-betrayal. Starting to keep one tiny promise to yourself every single day, like drinking enough water, meal prepping, moving your body, because small wins is going to rebuild that trust. Act even when motivation is very low, because identity is based on consistent action, not just your mood. So we need to start reframing our self-talk. Like, I'll start tomorrow. No, you need to tell yourself that I choose to show up today. What I found helpful was starting that micro habit checklist, highlighting 3 actions that is going to fuel my future self, and check them off and track them daily. Every small win is going to strengthen your confidence and your consistency. Number 2, time and energy boundaries. You can't transform in a life that never slows down. Your energy and time get stolen by everyone else, leaving nothing for your workouts, your meal prep, your peace of mind, or even recovery. So protecting your time is a non-negotiable. You don't have to over-explain why you're unavailable today. I can't is simply enough. You need to start guarding your mornings and stop giving your energy to people that drain you. Schedule your health like it actually matters, because it actually does. To do this, I needed to start time blocking my workouts, my meals, my sleep like it was appointments, not options, and protect them fiercely. I needed to learn how to say no without feeling guilty, because your energy is the most valuable currency. I started to identify my energy drains, the people, the tasks, the habits, and reduced or completely removed them. So what I did is I time blocked my workouts, 30 minutes for strength training and 30 minutes for my cardio, 3 times per week. I started tracking my meals, I started journaling, and I treated it as sacred. Over time, your priorities are going to start naturally shifting, which is going to help you actually move forward. Number 3, emotional and mental boundaries. Too many women carry other people's emotions, overfunction, and react instead of responding. That's the stress, the cortisol spikes, and emotional eating just waiting to happen. Listen, you're not responsible for everyone's feelings. You can allow discomfort without fixing it. And I encourage you to pause before reacting and choose intentional responses. I need to learn that I need to stop internalizing other people's opinions from people that are not living the life that I want to live. To set these emotional and mental boundaries, I needed to pause before reacting and ask myself, is this my responsibility? I needed to identify my emotional triggers and mentally detach when others' stress or criticism started to land on me. I started to journal what was my responsibility versus their responsibility and stop absorbing other people's chaos. I focused on my emotional boundary. Because of that, my focus and emotional bandwidth actually started to skyrocket. Number 4, relationship boundaries. Listen, I don't care if it's romantic, family, friends. You need to start setting strict boundaries. I used to overfunction and overextend myself in relationships, stay silent just to keep the peace, and tolerate gross disrespect. That energy simply keeps you away from your goals. Over time, I stopped trying to fix everybody else's problems because in a lot of cases, you're simply enabling their bad behavior. I also stopped shrinking to keep the peace. I stopped chasing connections where the effort wasn't mutual. I stopped confusing the history I had with these people with obligation. Stop letting others choose my path for me because I was simply afraid to disappoint others. And I learned that my boundaries may effectively mean that I'm gonna have to let people go and let people lose access to me. This is not punishment, this is simply protection. What I did was start auditing my relationships by asking, do they respect my goals, my routines, my energy, and started to communicate clearly. I need time for my workouts right now. And I can't commit to this right now. And ultimately, I walked away from repeat violations and protected my space. So I encourage you to pick one, a relationship that drains you. Set a small boundary with that person this week. Limit the calls, step back from the drama, and ask for support instead of taking over. And you'll start to track and see the difference in your energy over the course of the week. Number 5, body, food, and health boundaries. Your body is not a tool for punishment. Extremes, guilt, and outside approval destroy your progress. So you must start nourishing your body for strength, not validation. You need to stop punishing it. Stop tolerating the unsolicited comments. Prioritize your sleep as a non-negotiable. Start focusing on your strength, not the scale. Start prepping sustainable meals to avoid stress-driven chaos and honor your hunger signals. Start tracking your body with weekly check-ins, your energy, your sleep, your hunger, your mood. Adjust your nutrition and workouts accordingly. A safer body responds faster. Number 6, identity and growth boundaries. Listen, I used to live in my comfort zone, which just kept me small and making decisions that my future self would ultimately regret. But what I had to do was stop making excuses. I chose discomfort that led to growth over comfort that kept me stuck for years. Remember, you're no longer the woman that breaks promises with herself. You stop identifying with somebody who struggles. And I started using that future self lens by asking myself, will my future self actually thank me for this? I did at least one small, daily uncomfortable action, challenging workout, a hard conversation, or a skill building. And I replaced I don't have time with I choose where I invest my energy. Now I encourage you to pick 3 small growth actions for the week. Each day, you need to complete at least one and celebrate it. Identity shifts when action actually starts to align with your future self. Number 7, digital and social media boundaries. Comparison, overstimulation, and dopamine loops. It's gonna hijack your focus, your energy, and your self-worth. And your brain cannot heal in constant comparison. Girl, start protecting your focus and replace consumption with creation and start to treat your attention like currency. So here's what I had to do. I started to unfollow accounts that triggered guilt and shame and started to follow accounts that actually inspired me to become the person that I wanted to be in the future. I started to set time limits on social media, especially in the mornings and at night. I stopped scrolling with creation, journaling, planning, or even skill building. Listen, it may be helpful to start with a social media reset day in which you're tracking your emotional state before and after you're on on social media. And gradually over time, start to implement limits, morning, evening, and notifications until your control is actually restored. Listen, I learned that if I did not set these boundaries, nothing would change. You stay overwhelmed, inconsistent, exhausted, and you keep restarting. And years pass. But if you do, everything shifts. Your confidence, your consistency, your energy, and your body. All of it. You don't become disciplined by forcing yourself harder. You become disciplined when your identity is protected by the boundaries that you actually set. Your pace is not something that you earn. It's something that you protect. And the woman that you want to become has already set those boundaries. So you just have to start acting like her. If this hits home for you and you're finally ready to start taking control of your body, your confidence, and your life, then go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe for more, and hit that notification bell. And I'll see you friends in the next one.